Hi, welcome back to Thrive America. I'm your host, Brent Brooks, and I'm joined by very special guests, J. Mark Walker, Mr. Alan Yarick, Prince Nair, and joined by business coach, action coach, CEO, and co-founder of Axiom Franchise Advisors, and I'm joined by PR expert, venture catalyst, Erica Parker, Chad Massacre, Chris Spears.
We're always looking for ways to build bridges of trust, build bridges of relationship.
Welcome to Blank Stage Theater, today's set of Thrive America. I'm your host, Brent Brooks. I'm about to introduce you to Graham Wickham. Graham is the owner of the Wickham Financial Group and the Wickham Agency. In today's segments, you're going to learn some key things. In the first segment, Graham is going to weigh in on the current economic climate and the mindset that the investor should find themselves in. The second segment, Graham reached out to his current client base and asked them what's on your mind, and he solicited some key questions, and in this segment he's going to answer these very important questions. In the final segment, we asked Graham what his biggest business blunder was and what he learned most from that, as well as we asked Graham how we all can thrive in this economy. Hi, welcome back to Thrive America. I'm your host, Brent Brooks, and joined by Graham Wickham. Graham is the owner of Wickham Financial and the Wickham Agency. Did I get that right?
You did.
Graham, thanks so much for coming on our show today.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Understand we're neighbors. You're right around the corner here in Marietta.
We are. We've been right off the square by Kennestone Hospital for 37 years.
Excellent. And your father owned or still is involved with the agency, is that right?
Not so much involved anymore with some health issues, but he did start the insurance agency, Wickham Agency, 37 years ago. Yes, he did.
Excellent.
Yep.
And you're kind of following in the footsteps of that legacy?
In a way, I created Wickham Financial Group to meet a need for advisory services with investments, and I brought that back, bought their company to create an environment where we could help the client with all their needs.
And Graham, I understand you're very involved in the community, do a lot of things to help the Marietta community. We have an event, I know you have an event coming up at the Strand Theater in the Marietta Square. And what are some other things that you're involved in the Marietta community?
Well, I'm actively involved with the Marietta Business Association, as well as I used to be president and vice president of that organization for about 4 years. Also, Kiwanis. Actively involved with that. So that's a charitable organization to benefit children. So
excellent. Yeah. Well, I hope to see you out some of those meetings very soon. And let's talk about why you're on the show today. We brought you on here from a financial standpoint because of your insight, and I want you to talk about first what's going on with the economy from your perspective. In other words, what are people saying to you? What's the general mood? And let's kind of start there as a starting point.
Right. Well, I think everyone's concerned, obviously. When you have to worry about if you're going to have a job tomorrow, that's naturally going to have you a little bit more concerned of where you're spending your next dollar. So I think that's the overall concern is where are we at? Where are we going? Am I going to have a job tomorrow? Am I going to be able to bid for that business and actually get it so I can keep and retain my key employees that we're seeing with some of our business clients? So I think the concern is definitely in place for good reason. I mean, it's been for lack of better terms, a heck of a correction. So.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I started this show was we were kind of dead in the water as far as just like not doing anything in January. So I was like, what can I do to help this economy? I've got a camera, I've got a little studio here, and how can we do something to help the economy, that kind of thing. What are some things that you're doing and you're telling your clients as far as getting through this brutal economy we're going through right now?
Right. Well, from the investment standpoint, we try to encourage them to stay the course. Make sure that they have reserves in place. So if they are downsized with their employer, if they're if their salaries are cut, that they have emergency cash to fall back on. Instead of going into their investments accounts, which might add to their tax liability, might be added penalties to do that, that they can go towards these emergency reserves instead of going into their investment accounts.
We asked Graham, one of the tactics we asked Graham to do was to reach out to his client base for questions as being a guest here on Thrive America. So we're going to get to these questions in a later segment. But for now, I just want to kind of keep focused with just some Q&A with you. As far as where we are in the economy, and I'm sure a lot of people may be asking you this, is are we in the middle? Are we in the beginning? Are we in the end of this recession?
Right.
From your vantage point?
Well, my opinion, purely my opinion, because I'm definitely not an economist, but I think you have to look at leading and lagging indicators. You're looking at a lagging indicator is unemployment. Right now, we're still seeing unemployment increase. We're still layoffs, so on and so forth, and it seems like that's just increasing every single month. Well, that's actually a lagging indicator. By the time that you see employment stabilizing and start to increase, well, the economy and the economic numbers are already increasing, which means the stock market is always increasing, as well as the stock market is a great indicator. When you start seeing the stock market trending up while we're still getting such negative news, that's telling you something. So that's the message that we're trying to just remind our clients about, is that we know it's tough, we know it's challenging, we know you're trying to do everything you can to get to each day, but think about 6 months, a year down the road, where are we going to be, instead of just so much about where we're at right now.
So we need to have some foresight, maybe some discipline if we are investing. What advice do you have, or what can you tell someone, maybe someone like me or younger? I'm 35, and I've been investing a little bit every month, and it would now be a good time to invest for a young person if they have an extra couple $100 here and there to invest, or should they be holding on and just saving into a bank account? Can you help someone, the young investor? What would you?
Right. I think there's two answers to that question. I keep going back to an emergency reserve. I really recommend, especially the younger generation, because they tend to be working for someone, not necessarily always entrepreneurs, and they're in a situation they could be downsized. Their salary could be cut. They need to have that 6 months, 8 month in reserve, possibly 12, depending on the situation, that emergency fund that they can go after. After they do that, after they pay down their high interest credit card debt or pay it to a level that's much more manageable, then I recommend that they start putting dollars away. Even if it's $25 a month. Many programs like mutual fund companies will allow you just to put $25 a month at 25 or 26 and an average 9% return. I mean, you're looking at roughly around $1 million at 65.
Yeah.
It's just the compounding effect of just putting a little bit away methodically, monthly, and just not think about it.
Yeah. I think if I was 18 again and were able to do just that and just get into that discipline. Like you said, you can have $1 million by the time you're 65, and it's just a different mindset that I'd like for all of us to think about and get out of debt, and then get retroactive and get aggressive. Graham, we're gonna touch on some of the questions that you received from your response from your client base in just a minute. So
Sounds
we'll
good.
Have you right back.